So, good afternoon. Early this morning, um, I was meditating, and then there's this insight I got. It simply says, they will do as they saw you do, not as you tell them do. In other words, people tend to uh, do what they saw do than what they were instructed to do, which means the best form of teaching is by um, is by modeling or demonstration. What you demonstrate, people follow, people copy, and it tells me exactly what is going on in our world today. Now, I'm trying to find a scripture that confirms that. I was meditating, then I remembered where Jesus spoke in that dimension. John chapter 5. John chapter 5 from verse 17. John chapter 5 from verse 17 to verse 19. But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Then Jesus added something to what he has already said. He said, My Father, that's God, my Father worketh, and I work. Then he said in verse 19, Then answered Jesus and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, therefore also doeth the Son likewise. The Son cannot do anything except what the Son has seen the Father do. Now, this tells me something, that for me to raise my children, it is beyond giving them instructions, it's beyond telling them something, but it is by all means me leading the forefront, me living a life that they will copy. Children learn more by copying. They copy what they have seen me do. I know there are times that when I'm on my system working, do my work, then my son will come and say, please give me a laptop, let me also work. I want to do my own work, which means he's looking at me, and then he's copying exactly the things he sees me do. That's a warning to parents, to leaders. Now Jesus is saying, whatever the Father did is what he will also do. My Father worketh, and I work. As my Father is working, I'm also working. I cannot do anything on my own except I have seen my Father do it. Please hang on with me. Let's see the different dimensions. So I want to talk about models and modeling. Model and modeling. Model and modeling. A model is a 3D representation of a person or thing or structure. A three-dimensional representation of a person, a structure, or a thing. A model is like a standard for imitation. Models are standards for imitation. Again, model is like a simulator. Okay, whatever we are, like a scientific simulator or like a simulation. Okay, whatever you demonstrate, okay, the real thing will be as we have demonstrated, as we have, as the simulation is showing. Okay, a model is like a replica. A model is like a replica, a conceptual framework. Now this is a warning. In other words, look at the world today, which will make us understand. See, people will always do what they see their leaders do, not what their leaders tell them. I repeat, people will always do what they see what they saw their leaders do, not what they were told to do. Now, look, do you know that today people dress in certain way because they saw people dress in that same way? I remember watching one movie some time ago. For example, I like Jim Ike as a person. Basically, the way he talks, the way he approaches, the way he bounces, the way he confronts issues. So there was one movie, I can't remember the name of the movie, but I saw him wore shorts, a t-shirt on a short, and he had a jacket on it, like a suit on it. Now I liked it with his canvas and then stickers, and then the way he was bouncing, I liked it. So around in 2009, okay, 2009, I was teaching in a secondary school. I decided to dress that way, exactly that way, to class. Now, I wasn't employed in the school anyway, so it was a government school, but I went there to help them, to teach them certain things. So I dressed that way. Before you know it, because the student was having a likeness for me. Before you know it, it became like a pattern. Okay, they could. The following Sunday, I saw people, my students wearing shorts, t-shirt, and a suit with sneakers. Now they followed what they saw. That's modeling. There was another time in 2012, in a school called Maranatha at Mboba in Port Harcourt. There was a boy who fancied the way I do things, and I realized that he began to walk with his hand open, and then to hip, to like he's sleeping. One of the teachers asked, "Why are you sleeping like that? You don't." So, you are copying this, sir. You know, that kind of thing. So children learn by copying, people learn by copying. It tells me the issue of modeling. Number one of the examples I want to talk about is social media is a big influence. Okay, social media is a big influence, both negative and positive. The way people talk, the way people walk, the way people dress is being influenced by social media. Social media is modeling lives for people, and we should be very, very careful. Number two, parental rules. Parents model life for their children, not just by talking, but it is by doing. Then I want to emphasize on this now, this last part. I want to emphasize on it so that you will be careful who you choose to follow. As a leader, so the people. You cannot be different, or you cannot perform less than your leader or more than your leader. Now, whoever you that is leading you will set a pace. Okay, for you to do more than him, you would have to receive an extra thing somewhere to do more than your leader. However, if not, you will do exactly what your leader has done. I will compare two people from the Bible for you to see and guide yourself. Number, they are the first two kings of Israel: Saul, the first king, and David, the second king of Israel. Now, Saul, if you read the Bible in the book of First Samuel, chapter 9, from verse 1 to 2, Saul was described as a great, mighty man. He was big and tall in stature, and then that was what qualified him to be king. But do you know that despite the battles he fought and won as a king, there was not a record of any time where he fought a giant. In fact, the first giant that confronted him, he lost the battle. The first giant that came, he couldn't confront the giant because it was the first time he was seeing a giant, and he took him out. His strength couldn't stand giant. And you remember that there was no record of anybody in the army of Saul, no matter how great they were. By the way, for you to be qualified to be in the army of Saul, you would have been you would have been muscular. You have been a muscular person, strong and big. So that's why David was not qualified to be in his army, and that's why David wasn't even qualified to be a king by the parameters of men, because he wasn't big. But Saul never killed a giant. And Abner, read the First Samuel chapter 26 verse 15. Abner was described as a great mighty man, but he didn't kill any giant. But look at Second Samuel chapter 21. You realize that because David killed a giant, four of his army killed, four of his soldiers killed four other giants. As a leader, so the people, who is your model? Who are you following after? Be careful who you are following. Like